In the year 410 AD, inside the burning streets of Rome, the greatest city on earth collapsed beneath the footsteps of invading armies. Temples were abandoned, palaces were looted, citizens who believed they lived under the protection of heaven watched their world disappear in smoke. For centuries, people searched for the reason behind Rome's fall. Some blamed the barbarians, some blamed corruption, some blamed the weakness of emperors. But the true obsession hiding beneath this catastrophe was something far more mysterious. Not because of gold, not because of armies, not because of ordinary human ambition, but because humanity believed it understood the invisible forces standing between earth and the divine, the angels. For thousands of years, angels have been painted as gentle guardians with white wings, peaceful faces, and glowing halos. But that image is a modern invention. The oldest traditions describe something far more terrifying. Beings that did not look human, beings that carried unimaginable authority, beings that stood between creation and destruction. The 9 angels were never simply messengers from heaven. They were symbols of power. They ruled, they conquered, they judged. And throughout history, their names were used to build kingdoms, inspire wars, create religions, and reveal humanity's deepest fears. Because the truth is, the angels were never as simple as we thought. For most people today, the word angel creates the same image: a beautiful figure, a comforting protector, a symbol of kindness. But ancient texts tell a completely different story. The earliest descriptions of heavenly beings were not cute. They were overwhelming, terrifying, almost impossible for humans to comprehend. The prophet Ezekiel described creatures covered with eyes, surrounded by fire, moving with the speed of lightning. The book of Isaiah described the seraphim, beings with 6 wings, standing before the throne of God, so powerful that even their voices shook the foundations of heaven. And then there were the archangels, the commanders, the warriors, the ones believed to carry out the decisions of the divine. Among them were Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and others whose names appeared across different traditions. But here is where history becomes complicated. Because humanity did not just worship angels. Humanity tried to organize them, rank them, control their meaning, and eventually create a hierarchy of 9 orders, a cosmic empire above the human world. The idea of 9 angelic orders became especially influential through medieval Christian theology. The system divided angels into 3 levels. The highest level contained the seraphim, cherubim, and thrones. The middle level contained dominions, virtues, and powers. The lowest level contained principalities, archangels, and angels. Each group had a different role. The seraphim were closest to God. The thrones represented divine authority. The powers were believed to fight against chaos and evil. The archangels acted as commanders, delivering messages that could change the fate of nations. But the strange thing is, these beings were not created merely to comfort humanity. They represented something much larger: order, authority, a universe where every creature had a place. And for medieval rulers, this idea was incredibly powerful. Because if heaven itself had a hierarchy, then perhaps earth should have one too. Kings began comparing themselves to divine order. Empires claimed heavenly approval. Wars were described as battles between good and evil. The invisible world became a weapon. This is where the story takes a turn nobody expected. Angels became more than spiritual figures. They became political symbols. Kings placed angelic imagery on crowns, banners, and weapons. Armies marched under the protection of archangels. Entire civilizations believed they were fighting with heaven on their side. The angel was no longer only a messenger. The angel had become a force that could decide who deserved victory. Think about that for a second. A being that most people today imagine as a peaceful guardian was once powerful enough to justify wars, inspire armies, and shape the destiny of kingdoms. That is the strange contradiction of angels. They represented hope, but they were also symbols of judgment. They promised protection, but they also represented destruction. Perhaps the most famous example is Michael, the warrior archangel. Across centuries of tradition, Michael became known as the leader of heaven's armies. the one who fought against the forces of darkness, the defender of humanity. His image appeared everywhere, on churches, on royal symbols, on military banners, because people believed that whoever controlled the symbol of Michael controlled a connection to divine victory. But why did this one angel become so important? Why did one name survive for thousands of years while countless others disappeared? Pay attention to this next detail because it explains everything. Michael represented the perfect human desire, the belief that there was a force powerful enough to defeat chaos. Every empire faces the same fear: invasion, collapse, death. And when humans looked into the darkness, they searched for a protector. Michael became that protector, not because people saw him, but because they needed him. Then there was Lucifer, one of the most misunderstood figures in the history of angels. Originally, the name Lucifer was connected to the idea of the morning star, a symbol of brightness and beauty. But over centuries, the story transformed. Lucifer became associated with rebellion, pride, the ultimate fall from heaven, the angel who wanted power beyond his place, the angel who challenged divine authority. And this story created one of history's greatest paradoxes. The most beautiful angel became the symbol of corruption. The brightest being became the symbol of darkness. Humanity had created a warning hidden inside a myth. The danger was not weakness. The danger was believing you were above everything else. But perhaps the greatest mystery about the 9 angels is not what they are. It is why humans continue to search for them. Thousands of years have passed. Empires have vanished. Languages have disappeared. Kings have turned to dust. Yet the names remain: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, the seraphim, the cherubim, the thrones, still appearing in books, paintings, movies, and the imagination of millions. Why? Because angels represent something buried deep inside the human mind. The desire to believe that the universe is not random, that behind every disaster, every victory, every impossible moment, there is a hidden order, a greater design. Today, most people will never see a cathedral built for angels. They will never hear medieval monks chanting their names. They will never watch armies march beneath angelic banners. But the ancient idea survives. The same beings once used to explain the rise and fall of civilizations now appear on screens, posters, and stories. A cosmic empire reduced to entertainment. A force once feared by kings, now sitting quietly in our imagination. And perhaps that is the strangest part. Thousands of years of mystery, thousands of years of worship, thousands of years of humanity searching the heavens for answers. And now, the 9 angels are only a few words typed into a search bar, a forgotten symbol on a page, a story playing through your headphones while you sit in your own home. The beings that once stood between heaven and earth now rest peacefully inside our modern world, almost as if nothing ever happened. But maybe that is exactly what makes them fascinating, because the greatest mysteries are not always the ones hidden far away. Sometimes, they are the ones that have been sitting in front of us all along. If this story surprised you, hit subscribe and drop a comment telling us